Have you ever felt the desire to start something, a small business, a hobby, a creative project, but then you immediately talked yourself out of it? Not because you don't want it, but maybe because you feel unsure, unprepared, unqualified, or maybe even afraid. In this video, I want to talk about the real reasons why most people don't start and how I've personally had to overcome them while building my photography business, starting creative projects from home, and now creating this channel. One of the biggest reasons people don't start is because of the fear of the unknown. What if it doesn't work out? What if it's not really for me? But the truth is, you won't find out unless you start. I can tell you now that you actually owe it to yourself to start, because the fact that you have that desire, you have that thing inside of you, that pull, like you really want to do that thing, it's an indication that you should start. And also, I believe that is the best version of yourself, calling you forward. And I want to say to you that even if it doesn't work out, and even if you find out that, you know what, this is not really for me, that time you spent doing that thing, it's not a waste of time. Even if you were not successful at it, at the end of it, you are a better version of yourself. There are things that nobody can take away from you, the things that you have learned, the skills that you have gained, and even the clarity at the end to help you understand just, you know what, this wasn't the way. But what that can do is help and to redirect you to maybe something else that is better suited for you. So I would encourage you that, you know what, even if you are not sure that you're going to be successful at that thing, I would say still go ahead and start. The fact that you do not know should not be a valid reason to stop you from starting, because you do not know. So you could be right or you could be wrong, but the only way to find out is to start. Don't be afraid of failure. That can be redirection for you, and that can help you to become a better version of yourself. And it's better to live with peace and no regrets at the end, because you know that that thing that you really wanted, you still went for it. For me, I'm a believer, and one thing I believe is that with God, nothing is ever wasted. Instead, everything works together for our good. So even that thing that you tried and you failed at, trust me, it's working together for your good. A lot of people are waiting to feel ready, but the truth is, readiness is not something you wait for. Readiness is something that comes after you begin. You are never going to feel ready. What matters is that you make up your mind. You have to have the mind to work. You make up your mind to work, and to make it work, you have to make the decision that I'm going to start, I'm going to work, I'm going to show up, and I'm going to do my best. And also just be willing to learn as you go. Once your mind is made up, your body will follow, your feelings will follow, and your confidence will start to grow from that point. And most times we don't feel ready is because we are considering all the other things that we feel that we need to start. So I say, always make your starting point as simple and as easy as it can be for yourself, because the more that you complicate it is the more it will overwhelm you in your mind and just make you feel like, you know what, I cannot do this. I strongly believe in just starting small where you are and with what you have. We're going to speak more about this shortly in the next points. Number 3, I don't have the education or the background knowledge. Most people think that in order to start something, you always need a degree or maybe some formal training in order to start that thing, but that's not true. A lot of skills can be learned along the way. If I must tell you, I'm a photographer. I'm able to charge more than 200 euros per shoot, and I didn't go to school for photography. I didn't go to school for videography. I don't really know about these things. in the beginning. I just had the love for it and the interest, and I kept pushing myself, and I learned. There's videos on YouTube, there's people that you can learn from, there's books and things like that. So whatever it is, you don't really have to always have a formal education before you can start. You can literally learn on the job. Well, unless if maybe you are going for some kind of very specific profession like being a doctor, no. That one, you need the formal training. But for the purpose of this video, we are talking about you answering your creative calling, you starting that hobby, you starting that small business from home. Like I said, you start small and you start easy. For example, you want to go into baking. How about maybe you just start with maybe a muffin mix, and then you're like, okay, you know what, let me start doing it from scratch now, and then you learn how to make your muffins from scratch. Maybe start with small cakes, 1-tier cake, and then you keep building from that. You don't just expect yourself to just wake up and then all of a sudden you are supposed to know how to make maybe a 3-tier cake, wedding cake. Like, let's be kind to ourselves. Also, you get to enjoy the journey, and that's the whole purpose of studying, is so that you can learn and you can grow. Number 4 reason, I don't have fancy equipment or tools. You don't need the best tools. You need usable tools. You can borrow, you can rent, and you can start with what you already have. What matters is how resourceful can you be. For example, you want to start a YouTube channel. You don't have to wait until you have the best camera and all the best gear. No, you can start with your phone. You can start with natural light and learning, how do I record with my phone? How do I use natural light to light up my videos? And also imagine if you are that person who has been wondering, is this for me? Am I going to be successful at this? Imagine now spending 2,000 euros on a camera only to realize that a few months down the line, you no longer want to do that. So all that investment has just gone to waste. You didn't really need to use all that money to buy those things. You want to start baking, you don't have to wait until you have a mixer or a standalone mixer. You can start with the recipes that just require a wooden spoon. The more expensive and the more complicated you make it for yourself, is the harder it will be for you to start, and it's the more that you will delay yourself. There's so much that you can gain in terms of knowledge, in terms of skill, by starting very small and starting with what you already have. For example, when I started my photography business, I just had like a small crop sensor camera, and it was just that's all I had. I started with that. I didn't have studio equipment, I didn't have backdrops or things like that. I just started with shooting a small child at home for her birthday. That was how. And then also, that money that you make from that is now what you can save to buy things that you may need later. At least start making money, generating some income before you go crazy on all the equipment and all the fancy things that are needed for your creative project or small business. This is why I created this channel. It is to inspire women, especially moms who are at home, to know that they too can run successful businesses or meaningful projects right from the comfort of their home. I have been doing photography for years, and I have been having clients from the time I was in South Africa. When I was still in South Africa, I was able to start even charging 2,000 rands per client, which is something that some people who even have studios do not charge sometimes. But I was able to charge that. And I was able to make my own space work for me. I worked from a living room. Even now, I still work in my living room. I've never even had an entire room dedicated to my photography. So let's not even talk about a studio. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not even dreaming about a studio right now. The only kind of studio that I'm dreaming about is a home studio, because I still want to be home most of my days, and most of the hours of the day I want to be home. I want to have the flexibility to take care of my family, my children, my husband, my home, the way that I want to. I'm not ready for a studio yet. Yes, maybe I can rent it out, but I'm just not there yet. I don't even want to be handling that for now. So I'm very happy to be shooting from home, or even if I travel to other people's homes and be able to take photos of them, or outdoor locations. It works. There's just so many different ways of starting, so many different ways of doing things that you don't really need a fancy studio, office, or property that you think maybe you need. Number 6 reason, I'm afraid of making a fool of myself. You know, a lot of people don't start because they are afraid of people's opinions. The reason why you feel like you are afraid, you are not worried that you yourself will think that you are a fool, but rather you are worried about how other people are going to perceive you. But that should not stop you. In fact, if we must be honest, when you start, not even a lot of people can see what you are doing. So you don't even really have the eyes. And even those who criticize you, most times they themselves are afraid to try. You have to remember that those people that you are worried about, they cannot make you or break you. You don't have to give them power. What do they do for you in your life? And you have to be so careful of listening to the wrong voices. If you are going to listen to someone, listen to the people who are already doing that thing, who are already doing what you want to do. Then maybe you can take some advice from them. Take what works for you. Even the voices in your head, because sometimes we want to talk ourselves out of things because of the fear and the pressure that we feel. But we have to remind ourselves why we want that thing. Is it a good thing that you want? Can it add value to yourself? Can it add value to another person? Then I believe that it's worth it to try. It doesn't matter what everybody thinks, because remember, you can't even please everyone. It's just impossible. Ask anyone who's ever tried to do something. There's usually a person who's somewhere laughing at them or criticizing them or even trying to discourage them from starting. But they had to just keep going and do what they believed was right, what they knew in their hearts that they wanted to do, and keep pushing. And that's how they eventually got to the point of success. So I say, ignore the negativity and only pay attention to the truth. Number 7, I don't have the courage or confidence. The truth is, courage and confidence is something that you build over time. The more that you practice, the more you get better. And the more you get better is the more your confidence also grows. Some people, they are just naturally more confident, or they come across like that. And to be quite honest with you, you know, like sometimes even if you watch like the biggest stars and, you know, even people who do like MC and whatnot, most of the time they are nervous. But it's just that they've practiced so much and they've done that thing so much that their confidence still shows, even though they are feeling nervous. Even me, as I'm doing this, it's not like, I'm 100% confident. You know, I'm even struggling a little bit as I'm recording this. I have to sometimes go back and redo and re-say what I've said, because maybe I've mixed up my words. Remember, I was speaking to my sister-in-law and she was like, you know, I think you are just naturally more confident. And even another mommy was saying to me that, I think you are good at speaking. But I'm telling you, I wasn't just born and I was good at speaking. That is also something I've been working on over time for years. So it's not like it just comes naturally. No, that's not true. Every time you show up, your courage increases, your confidence increases. And also, I believe that you can pray for these things. You can pray for God to give you the boldness, to give you the courage to still keep going. Waiting for perfect conditions is going to delay you or even stop you entirely. So I say, start small, start where you are and with what you have already, and keep growing from there. You can't skip stages. Every stage matters, and it matters for the next phase that you have to go through. It's a process and it's a journey. It's not a destination. So work with what you have and keep pushing yourself forward. Make this the year that you start, the year that you stop delaying. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this is helpful for you. I hope it has been an encouragement for you and to just give you a little push to help you to start that thing that you've always wanted to start. And as usual, stay blessed and stay creative. Goodbye.